Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It is me, Rich, and I am here with Martin. Kevin will be joining us shortly. We've got comments flying in already. The week has been dragging. Martin, we've been chatting about that backstage, and we can't wait until Sunday, can we?
Oh, this week just feels like a snail. It's literally dragging. Like, I've been in college and I'm literally just sitting there thinking, I wonder what the score will be on Sunday. Like, I put all scenarios in my head of, like, if we win, yeah, we have it. But then if we lose, oh, I need Tottenham to lose. Then I need Brentford to lose. And if we draw, I still need the other two to draw or lose. Everything was just going through my head.
I know, mate. It's mad. It's just it feels so long ago that it was Liverpool, and it still feels long that we're playing because 4:30 Sunday. I mean, not really any football tomorrow. It's just let's just get the game. I'm sure the players. I'm sure that the players will be absolutely chomping at the bit to get this game out of the way, won't they? And get it won and get us into. I mean, it'd be amazing to get Europe, but top seven finish would just be incredible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just, considering where we were under Gerrard, and then when Unai came, the objective, I'd imagine, would have been just, get the top half, and we'd probably be happy enough with that. But he's basically just done us one better, and here we are now, one game away. Conference League, I don't care if it's the third tier of European Cups, it's still a European competition. It's still a competition where there's some good sides that'll play. And it's just, like, I'm lost for words because in my age, we've obviously not seen Villa play now in the European competition for 12 years. But I've never gone to experience a European game for Aston Villa, and I'd love to see the atmosphere of Villa Park on a European night, the atmosphere of of Aston Villa away fans when they're gone to, say like Prague or Juventus, if they're the teams that are being mentioned at the minute. It'd just be unbelievable to experience that as a Villa fan.
Absolutely, mate. And I mean, I remember kind of going to see us against Deportivo La Coruña. I remember, obviously, Inter Milan, some of the nights that we had against them,
Mm.
sort of late 80s, early 90s, or I think it was 1990, 89, 90 season. Then later on from there, 93, 94, mate, I think it was. And then what was probably my favourite game that I talk about all the time, Stan Collimore's goal against Atletico Madrid. So yeah, I mean, there's been some amazing nights at Villa Park, and I'm sure some that the watchers, the viewers, and the listeners all reminisce about. And yeah, it's almost going to be to, well, at least one generation of Villa fans.
Mm.
Fingers crossed, European football, and if not this season, then certainly seasons to come that are going to experience it. So, look, it'll be amazing. If we get that win, and get that achievement. We'll go, obviously going to go through the game, the preview in the game on Sunday, talk about Brighton's players, talk a little bit about Villa's. Obviously there's been some injury concern this week. We'll go over some stats. We'll get obviously predicted lineups, predicted scores, so all the usual stuff. And I've got loads of comments coming in. I will come to them shortly. Just usual housekeeping. We are 18 subscribers away from 1,500. Sorry, that's the wrong one. We're on 1,400 at the moment. We're on
Ah,
1,482 subscribers, so only 18 away. So if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. The least you could do is give us a like, though. So please hit that like button, help us spread the word of the channel. If you do want to become a member, then for just $1.99 a month, then please hit the join button or hit the $ in the bottom right and follow the instructions. And if you want to leave a super chat, make sure your comments read and help support the channel, then please do. It's much, much, much appreciated. So let's get into it. Michael is in the house.
mm.
Um, in a few days, Villa play their biggest game since the playoff finals. This game is huge because if we win, we get to compete in European football, and the value of our club goes up and we become a more attractive destination for possible signings, plus in terms of revenue, but in perception and standing. Absolutely, Matt. I can't disagree. It's just, what it'll bring to the club. Obviously, we're looking to extend the ground, the signings we might be able to make, just the momentum that it gives. We've seen what momentum gave to Newcastle this season. What kind of momentum is that going to give to us, Martin?
It's, the sky is not even the limit. There's footsteps in the moon. So it goes way beyond that. Like now, because we're not like some clubs who want to build a new stadium altogether and then are in financial ruins. No, we're just expanding our stadium bit by bit, and I think that's the smartest thing to do in terms of cost. And then potential signings, big names are being linked now because of, because we're potentially might get a European place, and that's a big factor. If European
100%.
football for some of these players, like say if it was an Ulster or Tottenham battling for a player, and we're the ones who've won European football, you're going to Aston Villa to play European football.
Exactly. It's and to work under Unai Emery as well. Let's not forget, he carries a lot of weight. I must get through these. So yeah, despite the lack of success and constant media brainwashing of the so-called Big Six, it's testament to Aston Villa that we can still command full houses. Yet every other week, passionate fan base, the giant of Aston Villa has been asleep for too long. As we approach our final game, the giant has awoken. And regardless of score this Sunday, it will not be going back to sleep. Michael, to get that in the dressing room, mate, that is amazing. Black Rum's in the house. Up the Villa, lads. Absolutely, mate. Thank you for joining. Gary, hi, everyone. Nervy weekend coming up. Yes. Adamski, good day, lads. Yep, happy, was it good morning in Australia? So thanks a lot, Adamski. Rachel's in the house. Good evening, Rachel. Soupy Mark. Wow, big echoes. And Duncan, evening. Good evening, mate. Watsy, evening, guys. We all follow the Villa. Absolutely, mate. We'll come on to Duncan's comment there later on just regarding the teams. Man with the golden gun. Good to see you, lads. My anxiety is doing backflips. Just can't wait for it up the Villa. Parallels between 91-92 season, Big Ron's first season, finished 7th that year and should have won the league the season after. Maybe we can go one better next year. Yeah. Happy Rotterdam Day all, says Michael. So that's on this day.
Oh, yeah. It must be.
Yeah, it must be. And it is.
And
Peter
it is.
with. Evening, Mark. Good to see you, mate. Gary, the objective 5 years ago was to get to this point. A few bumps in the road with Jack going, Gerrard, etc. But we are where we need to be right now. Was that Tony's year that had that that 5-year plan?
Yeah, it was Tony. It was like,
far?
I think he said
I might be going back too far.
No, I think he said it was a 10-year thing.
I
that
don't
he
know.
wanted Villa in the
He came in
Champions League.
He came in 2016, 17. Yeah, so a bit too soon on that one. I remember him having one though. Rachel, whatever happens, it's been a great season since Emery comes in. It is looking bright for the future. Chris said, did anyone notice Emery name check Conser for England today? I didn't. I must say I read all the. I read kind of the quotes, but I didn't see him mention Conser.
No,
but I wouldn't be surprised
either.
if Conser declares himself for Portugal.
I don't even think he's been mentioned for Portugal either.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't. But I think if he says like, his agent makes some grumblings, because he was England under 21, wasn't he? So
he was England under 21. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it does. You're not fussed anyway, are you really? So,
by my accent, you think I'm fussed?
Talk to Kev about this, yeah.
Yeah. You may as well be talking to a rock.
Yeah, exactly, right, exactly. Adamski says 6 a.m. We're the cruelest fan channel out there. Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry, mate, for getting you up this early.
Adamski, where about in Australia are you from? I used to live there for 4 years, so.
Yeah, let us know, mate.
Yeah, whenever
Lisa, just putting it out there. I called this game and situation 2 months ago a wish list wish. There you go, mate. Well, hopefully you called the win against Brighton. Let's hope. Mark says my clacker will be twitching like a rabbit's nose on Sunday, and Rachel says I think Conte should declare elsewhere. I think he can play for a few countries.
Is
Do you
Ireland
know
one of them?
Byron Bay?
I do know Byron Bay. It's only about an hour away from the Gold Coast. I done a bit of skydiving out by Byron Bay for my 16th birthday. Absolutely fantastic view of the beaches when you're doing a bit of skydiving.
Yeah. There, so Duncan, agrees with Portugal. And Gary said, hope everyone has their lucky underpants or whatever on Sunday. Yeah, we're crossing everything, mate. Right, here's a man of positivity. We're going to win 8-0 with a Leon Bailey hat trick. Aren't we, Kev?
He's going to score all 8, mate. That's what he's going to do, Leon.
Jeez, that's really positive thinking.
Leon's going to cross it into the box, and then he's going to run in and head it in himself every time. So, yeah. Why is this? I feel like I'm on an episode of Martin's Global Travels every time I see Martin at the moment.
I know he speaks Turkish.
Does he speak Australian as well? He speaks Australian.
He speaks
They
Australian
all speak
as
English.
well.
Yeah. They all speak English.
Oh, thanks for clarifying that, Mark. I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But the thing about Australia, right? The eyes very backwards in Australia. So I've lived there a few years, and I thought it was really good, mate.
How long did you live there for, Mark?
4 years. I done my secondary school over there.
Jesus, Martin, you are a global man of the world, aren't you?
He is.
Yeah, I've done a 6 months in ours. I've been to Byron Bay, good spot, but not quite 4 years. Felt well done.
No, it was remember when the recession was really bad?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, and Australia didn't have it. My dad got offered a job, and we all went.
What an absolute life! If any of the watchers, any of the viewers have got any questions about the globe, whether either me, Mark, or Rich have been there, then just ping them in on the chat, guys, and we're happy to answer it. See if you can think of the most unique place any of us have been to. Yeah, most obscure place. Yeah.
Buddy wants in. Buddy wants in on the conversation.
Oh, I'll tell you what's happened here. I'll come back in a sec. One sec.
He's probably wondering if I'm a dog whisperer now or something.
Yeah. You speak dog. You speak dog as well, don't you? Yeah. You definitely speak dog.
Gate was locked.
Kev, we were just talking around. We haven't got into Brighton or anything yet. We were just talking basically about how this week has dragged, and the kind of excitement mixed with anxiety. How are you feeling about like the general week and just wanting this game to get here?
Well, yeah, I mean, I know I'd sort of say sometimes in the pods that I'm all right if we get 8th. I just think I'd accept it because of the fact that it's I don't think it would derail us too much in terms of what we want to do. The season we've had has been unbelievable. I mean, we're second in the league under Emery, and we're not talking like we're second in the league after the last 5 games. We're talking, what is it, like 25 games, something like that, whatever, 30 games seemingly. So it's an unbelievable position. The players and the whole squad, the management, the club have just been absolutely unbelievable. These are coming in now. Stop popping them up, Rich, because Martin can't handle it. So
he actually lived in Trinidad and Tobago for a year and a half.
Did he
did a gap year there or something? I bet you.
Brilliant.
No, I didn't. No, never been.
Anyway, so I just think it means a lot to the club, doesn't it? To get European football. When you consider the season that Brighton have had, which has been absolutely incredible, the football they play, they're an envy of the world really at the moment. And then you've got obviously Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal. I kind of forget. Normally it's Chelsea. They're in there as well. Arsenal, obviously, Man City. And you've got these teams that are the established, massive clubs. And then you've got Brighton, who've been unbelievable. And then Villa, we're the next one. And we were absolute dog turd, weren't we, for the first 9 or 10 games? So yeah, it's been amazing. And to cap it off with a European qualification would just be sensational.
Yeah, 100%. You talk about Brighton, so we'll get into kind of talking about the opposition. You touched there, Kev, about how they've had an amazing season, played some brilliant football. They're going to be tough opposition, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we've seen some fantastic performances from them when we thought they were already maybe switching off, when obviously they got absolutely pummeled by Everton. I think we all thought, right, that's it now, the wheels are falling off. And then they came on the back of that and beat Arsenal so convincingly. Obviously played great the other night, didn't they, against City, in terms of, I know Man City made a few changes, but, not many teams are doing that. And all season they've been really good. Funny enough, though, I always think Brighton is one of those teams who seem to have done pretty well with over the years. I'm sure you're bringing the stats later.
Yeah, we'll get the stats up. We will get the stats up, but yeah.
But, I remember, there was the that game early on, I think in Gerrard's era, where Watkins kind of cut in, didn't he, from a great, I think it was Ashley Young ball, and did what he doesn't normally do, which is kind of smash on him from the edge of the box. There was Danny Ings' brace, obviously, which, who knows how valuable those points that Danny Ings got us, the draw against Wolves when he got the equaliser, and obviously the 3 points against Brighton will mean for us at the end of the season. So the bonus 3 million we're going to get by West Ham staying up, and maybe those bonus 4 points might be good. But, we seem to have done all right with them. There's obviously that famous game where I think Target scored in the last minute, when I think it was dunk header. Grealish got one over the line. So I always feel like we've done pretty well against them, but Brighton could turn anybody over on the day. So, and maybe we'll be a bit nervous. I'd like to think Unai have a plan, but just, it means something, this, doesn't it? It means something.
Yeah, absolutely. Martin, you kind of fearful of Brighton and how well they're playing and what they're, what type of team they'll put out, because they've rested players. And it hasn't, I know they got beat off Newcastle, but it hasn't mattered too much with who they've brought in, because, this Enciso scoring goals. He's got a wonderful goal on Wednesday night. Evan Ferguson's come in and out the team. Welbeck's still kind of playing well. McAllister's been on the bench a couple of times, then come on. Like, it doesn't really matter who they're bringing in at the moment. They're still kind of playing the same quality football.
Yeah, it obviously just goes to show the confidence is flowing within the whole squad, not just, the starting 11 that's on the pitch. And they're just playing brilliant. And what a goal by Enciso. That was a screamer. You couldn't get more top corner than that. You really couldn't. Even some of the Man City fans were just clapping to that goal. Like, you just have to appreciate it. But like I said, Brighton are a squad beaming with confidence, over getting Europe, and, they're definitely still rest players for us, I think, because it's pretty much guaranteed. So they want to give some more game times to different people. But at the same time, I wouldn't expect an easy run, even if them rested players are on the bench, because everyone's just beaming with confidence at the minute.
Yeah. They're going to be. They were going to be a good side. I've mentioned a couple of players, Kev. McAllister and Cisco. Mitoma's one who springs to mind. But are those the main players that we've got to worry about, or any others that you've kind of stuck out to you?
You're on mute.
I feel like it's 2020 all over again. I think they've got great players across the park. You think about some of the players that have not played lately. Obviously, Lallana's been injured and he's starting the season off. What kind of player he is. Solly March has probably been as good as anyone for them this season. Obviously, he's been injured lately. And then they bring in other players that no one's really heard of. They've got the obviously Enciso you mentioned, who's such a young guy and he's done fantastic. I think that Ferguson looks like he's going to be an absolute superstar as a striker. I think he's going to be brilliant. I think we spoke about him briefly before, Mark, because obviously, I think you live where he's from, haven't you, as Ireland, maybe for a couple of months around all your jaunts. They've got Welbeck's done really well, I think, in this. When maybe we all thought his goose was cooked, and he's what 32, 33. He's done really well. The centre halves are brilliant. I just think Mitoma, McAllister. Gross has been great. I mean, a couple of goals he scored.
Yeah, he's got the most goals or something this season. Like, he's just banging in the goals. Gross. And we forgot about Caicedo as well.
Moses Caicedo is linked with everybody, isn't he, in terms of the big clubs? So, yeah, they are the absolute epitome of what good recruitment is, because some of the fees they pay for some of those players. It's almost a little bit like what Leicester did. When they were getting the players, they get likes of Mahrez and N'Golo Kante in for next to nothing, really. When you look at what the likes of Chelsea have spent, or Man United have spent 165 million on two wingers that I don't think they'll get in Brighton's team.
Yeah. That's very, very, very true. That's very true.
You're getting our team, won't you, Brighton's team?
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking on Twitter to see, because one of the lads in one of the other groups has said Asensio incoming, but I can't see anything where it's a definite or anything like that. So yeah, we'll wait and see on that. I was just looking to see if Villa had announced anything, but definitely not. Few comments coming in. CC is joining us. I veer from being confident, excited about the game, to being incredibly nervous, as Brighton is such a dynamic team. I think you summed up everyone's thoughts there in one perfectly. Gary says, I've lived in Chernobyl for 10 years now. I have 3 legs and 2 heads.
Thank God I didn't live there.
You definitely haven't lived there, have you?
No. Gary, I thought that 3 legs rumor was a vicious rumor about you. It's not that kind of podcast, guys.
He went in as a Villa fan. He came out as a blue nose.
I heard Chernobyl fall off.
That's very good. That's very good. Very, very good. Try podcast.
Yeah. Gary said Brighton aren't coming for a jolly up. They will be tough. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Eddie says, do you live in a church, Kev?
I mean, some of the stuff that happens in his house, he's definitely not.
I mean, in fairness, it looks like a class house.
Very nice high ceilings. If you had a stained glass at the back there, yeah.
Well, my landlord's clearly got good taste, so there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Duncan said we're Brighton's bogey team. Yeah, I think we'll go through some of the stats as well. Matt, we'll come to your comment there about teams in a second. Dale says, sorry, mate, I'm late, lads. Been sorting the kids out while the missus out on the drink. No problem. It'll be me come Sunday, so all is good. Absolutely, mate. Thank you for joining us. We're having I'm having a little beer here, just to calm the nerves, just to calm the nerves.
I got a peppermint.
Well, I think I won't be short.
Nice cup of tea.
Peppermint tea.
Peppermint tea. Wow.
Yeah.
Adamski, what's he saying? At least with Brighton, they will sell or lose players every season and won't be a threat to any places higher than 6th. You never know. Sometimes they can, if they keep hold of a couple, then they can build around those.
Yeah.
Alan's on JD Honey. Very nice.
Well,
very nice.
Speaking of the whiskies, just for Alan, what do you want, lads?
Look at that.
Very nice. I'll have them. Do you drink it while you got the motorcycle helmet on as well?
Well, no, that's my dad. That's the Holy Grail. Don't even think about going near there. drink included. Don't even look at it. You look at it, you're dead.
Is that a bottle from every location you've lived in?
Yeah, it must be. It must be.
Well, funny enough, he actually has got a whiskey, a Japanese whiskey.
Nice.
So,
just on Villa then, and you talked about kind of Emery's having plans, Kev. How would you approach it if you were Emery?
I mean, I just think he's got to do what he's done all the way through, really, which is go for it hard at home, which is what he's always done. A fast start, get out the team, see if we can get ourselves, like we did against Man United, like we did against Newcastle, just get at them. I think that's really, really important. Yeah.
Do you think there'll be any nerves with the players, Martin, or do you think, like Kev says, we will just go at them from the off?
There'll be natural nerves, of course, from the lads, but I'd agree with Kev that they will go at them from the off. They've everything to play for, and I don't think the lads would want to start off slow. They want to put their foot on the gas from minute 1, be on top, get an early goal, settle them nerves really well. So I've been agreeing with Kev. I don't think the lads will want to start slow.
Yeah. CC has said we're going to have to match them for energy, focus, intensity, and the 12th man will be incredibly important.
Yeah.
And then, a couple more. Only small team who made it, stick in the Premier is Chelsea. Brighton will fall away next 2 years. That's sad to say. Rach said the crowd needs to keep the positivity going, even if the game isn't going well or other results aren't going our way. That's important, isn't it? Martin, the crowd, we've got the atmosphere was really good for the Tottenham game. there was a couple of quieter moments, but generally brilliant. And when we got that second goal, the atmosphere was incredible. But it's really important. I know that they've put through some things where they can greet the team bus. There's all sorts of things going on around the ground before the game just to increase the atmosphere. I think Project B6 is doing some flags and stuff. We've got to really create a positive but intimidating atmosphere for the opposition, haven't we?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Literally, from the moment you wake up, all you should be thinking about is Villa Park, Aston Villa, European football. When you get to the place, be loud, chant every song under the sun. Even if you've lost your voice, even try. You know, have we have to make Villa Park a fortress on Sunday. Brighton are not gonna enjoy themselves. That is the one thing we need to do. Tottenham game, I was watching it. The atmosphere looked class. You're right. Some nervy moments, but that's natural in the game. That's in the heat of the moment, so you can't really control that. But we've really got to, put the foot down on Brighton.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary heard the club want the fans there for 3 so they can be there to cheer the lads off the coach. Yeah, definitely. And Michael, it's 3:00. The coach gets there. Eddie, I'll save your question for Kev when he pops back. CC, throwing them off their rhythm will be key. It'll be interesting to see if they pressure our playing out from the back the way they did with Man City. Yeah, and we've gone a little bit longer, haven't we? Like, we did that a bit against Newcastle and it worked. We did that a bit against Liverpool and it worked. I'd hope that Emery's got a tactic in play to try and get around that if they do press us quite high.
Well, yeah, when you think about it, he done it already in the Amex. Where he was able to shut Brighton off from all them runs in behind. And, we just dropped back that little bit further. And mind you, that team that was playing, there was no Alex Moreno then. There was no, Danny Ings was still about. He scored twice.
Yeah.
So that was a different team then as it was to it is now. So of course, Emery's going to have a philosophy that he wants to use against Brighton, and one that I'm confident in getting the 3 points because he's done it before with a team that basically wasn't his team just yet. As to now, it is his team. So I'm confident in what Emery will want to do.
Yeah. Bobby says, big up, gents, and everyone in the chat. Big up to you, mate. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, Bobby.
Adamski said the claret and blue streamers were a good touch the other week. Yeah, and I think they've, like I said, I think they've got flags planned for this one, so it should be a really good atmosphere. Where's everyone drinking pre-game? Get in the chat for Dale. Unfortunately, myself and Martin won't be there. Kev, you'll be with children, so probably won't be drinking, unfortunately.
He'll sneak one. He'll sneak 1 or 2 in. I have a feeling he will.
I'll have a cheeky shandy, I think.
Yeah, a couple of shandies. Gary says, don't forget Brighton's squad are young and they may not like an intimidating atmosphere at Villa Park. Exactly. Michael says, just one thing to add. Please keep off the pitch at full time. A few people agreeing with that. I think that's important.
I've seen Villa put that up as well, didn't they?
The result, yeah, because they're going to do a lap of appreciation anyway. So, yeah, it would be just good to keep it, just to keep it on, keep everyone in the stands and celebrate in the stands.
I really like how they said, basically, if you go on the pitch, we're not going to do the lap of appreciation. It was like when you say to the kids, if you do that again, you won't get an ice cream. Like it was
exactly.
Like,
good comparison.
Make sure you behave. It's my life. Calpol, sorry, I had to nip out. Not myself. I'm not addicted to Calpol. Look, the fans quite rightly are going to be excited if we qualify for Europe, but it's not like we've won the bloody Champions League. It's a team like Aston Villa finishing in the edges of Europe. Look, it means a hell of a lot based on where we've been. It's not that long ago. I think it was the anniversary, maybe today, of when we lost to Fulham in the playoff final. I think it might have been today, or maybe today or yesterday, at some point in the last year, right?
Yeah.
And that, what a turning point that was for us. We didn't know it at the time, obviously, but Dr. Tony and his magic emojis. What an absolute bumberclart he was.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a technical term as well, I think.
And even if we'd have gone up, that's one of those sliding doors moments, isn't it? If we'd have gone up, we'd have probably been ruined anyway.
Do you know what's great as well? Have you ever seen that? It's like quite a sort of stoic sort of like clip that goes around saying how like you don't never know in the situation in life that you're in, whether it's good or bad luck. And it's some like old story about this some guy and his son breaks his leg and everyone's going, oh my God, it's terrible luck. And then a war breaks out and he can't go to war. And like, oh my God, isn't that fantastic luck? And then so the son goes to war, meets the love of his life. Isn't that brilliant luck? And then she dies. And it's like, the point is you never know what you're in and whether it's going to be good or bad for you. And we at the time with that, Fulham, Tom Kearney, they were our bogey team for a bit. We lost. Look at us now. What are we, 5 years later? And we are a proper club. You've got, mentioned in the chat, Rachel Daly winning. I mean, this is of that team which was monopolised by 3 or 4 clubs. So that league, the WSL, we've got the Aston Villa player, winning player of the season. And she could also get the brace of golden boot if she gets a few in the last game, which is fantastic. We've got the mighty Villa boys finally not being the whipping boys, not losing at home to Wigan and the Palace, but going on an unbelievable run away from home. Earlier in the season, Ollie Watkins breaking consecutive records. Villa Park's a fortress now. When was the last time Villa Park was like this? Even under O'Neill, we were better away than we were at home generally. I look at where we are now and just think, you know what, it's absolutely magnificent. But don't go on the pitch if you get Europa League. Sorry, Conference League.
Yeah. We'll go through. We'll get your teams up, your predicted lineups up in a second. Just a quick reminder, guys. Please hit that like button. I've just checked. We've got over 50 watching, and we've only got 14 likes. So please smash the like button. We've got to get up to, can we get to over 50 likes on the show tonight? And we are 18 subscribers away from 1,500. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 1,500. If you want to support us even more and become a member of the channel, just for $1.99 a month, less than a third of the cost of a pint, hit the link that's pinned at the top of the chat, or the cash, the $sign in the chat as well, or the join button on our channel, and follow the instructions from there. And if you want to send us a super chat to help donate to the channel, then it is more than appreciated. Teams, predicted lineups. Let's get into it. First of all, though, obviously part of the press conference, there wasn't too much news from Emery, but Martin, Alex Moreno is out for, potentially going to miss the start of the start of next season. He's had surgery on a really bad hamstring injury. They're likely to take 3 months. Then he's going to have to build his fitness up, so might not be fit for the start of next season, which is a big blow.
Yeah, it really is a race against the time for him. I was kind of hoping it wasn't going to be a case of him getting surgery. Just thinking it might be just a slight pull of the hamstring that, he might recover from in a few weeks. But unfortunately, it's inevitably worse than what it is. And he's had to get surgery, which is a shame. And, I like to wish him all the best and a speedy recovery, and that he comes back stronger than what he is. I've no doubt that he will, probably. So I really am hopeful for him that he's back in full fitness, whenever that is.
Yeah, 100%. So Kev, we'll get your team up first. Obviously, with the news that Moreno isn't playing, I don't know if Luca Dean had a slight knock last Saturday, but obviously, presuming he's fit, I don't think Emery mentioned anything about him. But yeah, talk us through your team v Brighton.
That's my thought process, really, because it hasn't been said that Dean is out. Then I'm assuming that he's going to get through and be able to play. On Moreno, by the way, just quickly, I always worry about when it's a bad hamstring injury. From something that looked quite innocuous, him to need surgery. Normally, hamstring injuries don't need surgery, do they? So you think about, obviously, like when Michael Owen's career just went off a cliff, when he had his hamstrings went. And when you're an explosive player, which Moreno is, he drops his shoulder, he goes outside the fullback. Crazy thinking of fullback, he's going outside the fullback consistently. Is he going to lose a bit of pace? So we'll see what happens with that. But so it's a straight swap for me for Digne for Moreno. I think the back four stays the same. Obviously, our two absolute rocks centre half. Our World Cup winning, Golden Glove winning, not everyone's cup of tea. Martinez behind him. Matty Cash, I think we're back in it right back. I think he did pretty well. I mean, it's a shame maybe for Young last game, but I think Cash did pretty well the other day.
Yeah.
And then I think the only other thing for me really is, as it probably has been all season, is it going to be Buendia, Bailey, Coutinho when he's fit? Who's going to be that support player? But I think Bailey wasn't particularly great in the last game. So, yeah. Buendia, I think, will come back in.
Fair enough. Get in the comments what changes you would make, guys, and I'll read them all out as well. Martin, your team is the same.
Great minds think alike.
My God, we've both been to Bar and Bay. We've both drunk a Guinness, and we've both got the same team. This is uncanny, Mark. Uncanny.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not having Buendia. I'm not having him.
Who are you having instead then?
Bailey.
Who you have? Oh, come on.
I'm having Bailey in the side. He's better at home.
Not at this side of the game.
He set up the goal against Spurs. He's better at the fast starts. I don't know if you've seen that compilation that I don't know, someone on Twitter put in about the run that we've been on. The home games, Bailey's either set up or scored in loads of those games in Emery's run, and I know Bailey didn't have he wasn't really involved against Liverpool. Had to do a lot of defending, but Buendia was terrible when he came on. Yeah, terrible.
I think you make a good point around Bailey in that he has actually done better at home. Do you know what? Each week, for me, Bailey, Buendia, whatever. I don't think it makes a massive amount of difference. But you're probably right. I think based on that, I think Bailey may well get a nice one.
Got to shout out Dale. Amazing. Become a member.
Yes, Dale.
Welcome.
And he's not just done that either.
Follower. You've not just done that, but you've given us a super chat or super sticker for $9.99, mate.
Thanks,
absolutely mate. Amazing. Thank you so much. Much appreciated, mate. Can't thank you enough. Amazing stuff, mate. Thank you so much.
Good man.
Gary says Bailey is due. Yeah. Due a good game, I hope. Not due. Adamski says surgery sounds so bad, but just keyhole to remove little bits of human leg. Wow. CC, I agree with the team except MEB. I think Bailey will be in. Duncan says Dini and Buendia in for me. Buendia in for sure, says Bailey. Dale says have a drink on me, Kev. Get the kids some. There you go, mate. Loving it. As long as they don't take his leg off, yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he says get the kids some ice cream. Not. Nice one. Thank you, Dale. Much appreciated, man.
Good man, Dale. Good man. Much appreciated.
And Eddie's giving us a like. Big up. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. And Cece said, I agree. Bailey hasn't been delivering, but he has it in him to rise to the occasion. Emmy just hasn't been on it lately. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you say, I think we need what pace and dynamism Bailey has. Certainly the first 45 minutes, I think we need to harness that, and then we could maybe bring in Emi Buendia on. But yeah, I do think that Kamara in there will add a lot of calmness to the team. It'll allow Luis to get a bit further forward, and just help us be a little bit more settled. I did want to ask though, what are your thoughts on Watkins? Do you think we might see a final hurrah from Watkins for this season? Like, do you think he'll be back on form? Do you think he'll want to really, get after missing the penalty on Saturday? Do you think he'll want to put that right on Sunday, boys?
Well, he needs a goal, doesn't he, to break his best ever in the Premier League, to get 15. The last Villa player to get 15 in the league was in the Premier League.
Oh, Christian Benteke.
So it's been a few years now. And he's had his chances. Obviously, he missed a penalty in the last game. He feels like he's obviously dropped off in the last few weeks, which is a shame because I think we were talking a month ago about whether we could get 20 goals. The run he was on, and feeling like he felt like he was on top of the world. and then it's obviously just dropped off. But it'd be good for him to get 15 goals. I think is, 20 is always seen as being obviously the big number to get to. But I think a lot of players might get themselves double figures. To get 15 in between the two, I think would be a good result.
Yeah. Any other players, Martin, that you're expecting big games from on Sunday?
Douglas Luiz, Kamara, Ramsey. I think Ramsey might turn up to this one.
Yeah, I've really been impressed with him lately.
Yeah, I think he might turn up to this one. And I think one player that will definitely turn up will be Tyrone Mings. I think he's going to turn up big time for this one. He's going to want to be on it from the get-go. Although I know he's not the captain, but he is going to cement some leadership on that day. 100%.
Do you know what I always love about when we play now? Is that to think these opposition teams, you've got a World Cup winner in McAllister, you've got this absolutely amazing player in Caicedo, and they must be thinking to themselves the night before a game, oh shit, we've got John McGinn tomorrow.
I know. I was just about to say that. Like, he's just
he loves a good game
to
against
play
Brighton.
Against at the moment. Absolute nightmare to play against.
Yeah. He is, isn't it? Whether it's Dan Burn size or whatever it might be, like you're having it. John McGinn's are giving it to you.
Yeah. He's gonna want to. He loves a good game against Brighton for some reason. Every game against Brighton, that lad just turns up.
Yeah. Duncan says he's due a goal. Dale says McGinn needs to have a good game. He can run the game when he does. Matt saying Duran scores the winner, then goes live on Instagram like he always does.
Oh, imagine!
It's a bit mad, isn't he? He's a bit mad.
I mean,
he's a youngster compared to me and Kev, like much young. So we I don't get all that.
He's practically a youngster to me as well. Like.
Exactly, mate. Yeah.
And that's saying something.
Yeah. Well, if you look at like the curses, right? Villa generally don't seem to win the last game of the season, too much, and he hasn't scored. He's made a number of appearances off the bench. I think a lot of substitution appearances.
12, yeah.
He hasn't scored yet. He's hit the bar with an absolute rasper, hasn't he? But do you imagine the scenes? 92nd minute, it's 1-1. Spurs get himself. Harry Kane gets a penalty that should never have been given to get themselves up and down the middle of the pitch, taking on all comers. John Duran smashes one in the top corner. Imagine the scenes, limbs everywhere.
There might be people on the pitch then.
Yeah, they think it's all over. They think it's all over for the players walk around the pitch. It is now. We are due a goal from John, and it'd be great to see him get a goal. So it'd be nice for us to be 3 or 4 up for him to get a goal. To put the icing on the cake. But
that's the thing. Like, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, if we do get off to a fast start and get 2 or 3 up, dreamland stuff, then I don't care what team you are. Brighton are already qualified. They're already finishing 6th. Like, do they really push for it? Like, it's one of those, isn't it? Like, you could even tell on Wednesday night when they, the first half was a real game. The second half was just a bit of a pre-season affair, really. So you just hope that we do push on and get off to that great start. And no team wants to lose, but if you get them into that losing position, no, they're not gonna put the bodies on the line to get the win. I don't care who you are.
I really hope that their levels are just a little bit off for all the reasons we've discussed, and I really hope that we keep our standards as high as they have been under Emery almost every game, but particularly at home. I think that it's the mark of a good team, a quality outfit, to get the win when they need to get the win. And Villa, I think, have generally done that in recent seasons. And when you go back to all of the games in this run we've been on, when we've needed to get a result against Liverpool, when we needed to, we're going to need to beat Chelsea, need to beat Spurs away, all that, beating Man United at home. But even going back to, the playoff games, against the Baggies, going back to the West Ham game where we needed to get a result on the last day of the season, I think we've been pretty good at doing that. When the chips have been down, a lot of these players are still from that time when we got 8 points in the last 4 games to stay up under Dean Smith. To have something to play for on the last day of the season that isn't promotion to the Premier League, as big as that is, isn't staying up by the skin of your teeth, but this is proper, like, top end of the table stuff, isn't it? Qualifying for Europe. And some of these players have seen great times, in recent, we've got our World Cup winning goalkeeper we've discussed. McGinn's had great form for Scotland and has qualified for major tournaments. You know, you've got Louise winning our Player of the Season award. Buendia's obviously played for Argentina. Kashi's played for Poland. So you've got a lot of good signs throughout the squad. To do it something like this for your club, you get into the next level, aren't you, as a footballer, and that puts you into the stratosphere. You know, so yeah, I think we'll have a bit too much for them. I think we'll want it a bit too much. Because, you know, those 50-50 balls might become a 48-52 ball, you know, or a 55-45 ball, and then, you know, we want this win. And I don't think there's been many situations in Emery when we wanted to win that we haven't won.
Yeah, exactly. I think. I think if we do get off, I think CC's mentioned it here. He does think that the edge will be off Brighton, but we'll only succeed if we play with the intensity. And I think we could beat it out of them almost. Do you know what I mean? Like we could really do that. It's just about us kind of starting the right way. So yeah, absolutely. Alan, I agree. Get liking everyone. Well, let's get into some stats, and then we'll cover some other Villa news. Get your questions in. We like to do a little bit of random questions. I'm sure we'll talk relegation battle as well. I've seen Dale's comments about relegation battle, so we'll talk that, and then we'll get score predictions to finish off. So yeah, just while I'm sharing my screen, don't forget, guys, hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. So let's have a look at the stats, the head-to-head stats. So we've played 7 times in the Premier League. As you say, Kev, Brighton have beat us once. I think that was in lockdown, wasn't it? I remember Welbeck scoring a decent goal. We've beaten them 4 times, we've had 2 draws. We've won twice at home and twice away. And as you say, Premier League, we've done pretty well. Beat them earlier on this season 2-1, beat them last season 2-0 out away, and also at home 2-0, and then a 0-0 draw in lockdown season, and they beat us 2-1. And then prior to that, I think you were right, Kev, we drew with them 1-1. I remember Grealish scoring a great goal away from home.
Strike that was.
Yeah. And
yeah,
and then obviously we beat them 2-1 with a last minute Matty Target goal. So yeah, some good wins against them. Recent form, very similar. Well, actually, pretty much the same. Well, the same, but just slightly different order. So we obviously got a draw against Liverpool, and we've beat Spurs, lost 2 in a row against Wolves and Man United, and beat Fulham. And they had a draw and a win. Drew against Man City, beat Southampton, lost against Newcastle, beat Arsenal, and lost against Everton. One thing to point out here is they do concede goals once they've conceded, obviously 5 against Everton, 4 against Newcastle. So they've conceded 11 goals in the last 5 games. Villa have only conceded, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the last 5 games. So, once they do make mistakes, they do leave holes at the back. So something that we can certainly exploit. And obviously looking at the season so far, they do score goals. So they've, almost 2 per game. Villa only 1.32, but their goals conceded is slightly higher than us. Same clean sheets. They do create a lot of chances. But we've been very similar across the season, boys. So there's not going to be much in it. I keep saying it, and we keep saying it, but if we start the right way and we get at them early, we can definitely get a good result.
And let's not forget as well, like since Emery, I also alluded to earlier, we're better than Brighton. We are over different games. They've played, probably better football. They've been in a situation where they've been quite easy on the eye, haven't they? But we've been getting the result consistently. So at home, packed house. I've said every single time we've talked about stats under Emery, I don't really care about previous seasons. I wouldn't care if him beating us 7-0 in the last game. Look at the Newcastle game, perfect example. Get battered 4-0, and then it could have been the same result. We beat him 3-0, it could have been way more. So I think with Emery, we're just a different prospect, aren't we? It's totally irrelevant what's happened before, but we have also seemed to have had Brighton seemed one of those teams in the Premier League that in the last few years we have got good results against.
Yeah. There is a question here that I will come to straight away before the end, because we talked about him earlier. Brett's asked, is Duran a complete flop? He's not even had a shot on goal, even an assist. This is really poor.
Um,
So I'll come to you in a second. My thoughts are, and I think a lot of people are saying, it's quite too early to judge, and he's only 19 and stuff like that. I think the problem is he hasn't really had a start, and he's generally been brought on when we've either been behind or we're trying to hang on to something. So if we take like last week, for example, against Liverpool, he's literally just brought on to try and just chase down defenders. He's not been brought on to kind of win a game for us or kind of we're on the ascendancy. He's literally just brought on because Watkins is tired and we need someone to run around. So he's feeding off scraps. I think if he'd have had a couple of starts in a row, then we might be able to judge him a little bit more. But I don't know what you boys think. Martin, I know you were going to say something there.
Yeah, I'd be in agreement with Rachel saying there that, it's a bit too soon to judge. I think it is way too soon to judge, like you said, he's only been getting like 5-10 minutes here or there. I don't think I've actually seen him get like a good half an hour, 25 minutes. So, like, I wouldn't call somebody a flop. You have to remember, he's still 19, getting used to the system. He's moved away from his family, all these things playing into factor. So, yeah, I think it's way too soon to judge. I wouldn't be calling him a flop. He probably needs a good preseason under his belt to get some confidence up, some welcoming from the lads. So, yeah, way too soon to judge for me. What do you think, Kev?
He might be a flop. I mean, I think we can't. It's just too soon to tell. But I think you make some good points, lads. I think that you're absolutely right, Rich. He hasn't had a start, and it's difficult to have always that amount of impact when either you are brought on to just just chase after long balls, whatever. I mean, his touch is a bit all over the shop, and he has been brushed off the ball, as someone said earlier, more than you might think someone of his size might be. But then he has also done some quite nifty bits of skill, and he's shown he has got definitely some ability. He's very raw. He's come straight, obviously, from the MLS. And it'd be interesting to see what happens with a bit of coaching. I wouldn't be surprised to see him out on loan next season and to see Cameron Archer take his place in the squad. He's probably a bit more assured and maybe able to impact the game a bit more. But I think there's definitely a player in there. I mean, I think he looks better than Wesley ever did. From my position, I always thought Wesley was, from the start, I just thought he didn't have the right kind of runs. His instincts looked off. I mean, I think he could hold the ball up, whatever, but I don't think he ever looked like he was going to cut it out. So we would be cut out for it in the Premier League. Duran, I like his swagger, I like his style. He's great with the mascots before the game, but he's got to put the ball in it, hasn't
he? Yeah, absolutely. I think someone made a fair point about, where's Brighton? Yeah, Gary says, look at the lads at Brighton, only teenagers and looking like world beaters already. So, yeah, there is a case there. But yeah, I agree with you, Kev. I think a loan move or whatever, a full preseason, and we can see what he's like. He certainly has some attributes that we need. So we'll see. Yeah. So let's get into. We'll get predictions in shortly. I just want to see what we've starred here. So I did want to focus a little bit. I know Michael's had a little comment before about the women's team, so I wanted to focus on them a little bit as well. Obviously, really good season, finishing 5th. They've got is it Arsenal they've got on Sunday, last game of the season?
Yeah.
But Rachel Daly, wonderful season, getting Players Player of the Year. Could get the golden boot. I know, Kev, you've both been to games this season. I mean, what progress for the women's team. It's just incredible, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely tremendous. Where they come from, recent seasons fighting relegation, this team have been, I mean, they're a proper side. I'd not really seen too much women's football. I took the kids to to the Women's Euros first game, and like I'm sure like a lot of people watched the recent success of the England women's team. But some of the quality of football is fantastic. That squad. Kirsty Hansen's been an absolute revelation. She's been brilliant. Mars Pacheco has been fantastic. I think Lehman's had some great moments as well. Obviously, Kenza Dali's been brilliant. Hannah Hampton's been great across the team. There've been some really, really good performances. But Rach Daly's just been absolutely tremendous. A left back becoming top scorer in the league. And we're talking about the teams like Arsenal, like Man United, like Man City, like Chelsea, who have got established global names in women's football, and she's best of the pile as voted for by our fellow professionals. It's been brilliant. Obviously, there was a great run in the FA Cup. They did pretty well also in the Conti Cup, obviously the League Cup competition. I think the success coming up. I think a couple of good signings. There's a few players been released.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. A few players released, obviously, freeing up the wage bill or kind of freeing up the numbers in the squad. So I would expect a couple of players coming in, but I do think it's going to be difficult to keep, a Kenza Dali or one or two others. I think they've lost their really highly rated, one of their highly rated younger players. A name escapes me. No, she's gone today, but there's another one. Is it Blink-Eyed?
Ruisha Littlejohn, was it?
Maybe. I'm not sure, but she's gone to Man United. She went the other day. So there's going to be some. I think one or two will go.
It was Evie Rabjohn. It was Evie.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, and Rachel said there, I think Daly has a year or 2 years on the contracts. It's the other players, Hansen and Patton, leaving, which we need to replace. Yeah, and so I know they sign them generally on 1 and 2 year contracts. So Villa finishing 5th probably means they can kind of cream off the top of the likes of Everton or Liverpool or one or two of the other teams that are slightly lower, and maybe again get 1 or 2 of the players that are kind of surplus to requirements at the likes of Man City or Man United, like they've done this season. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be tough for them to get into that top 4, but certainly, if they keep getting the crowds, if they keep, the money coming in, then they'll obviously be able to increase their budget and go after better players.
Yeah. I think one player that they would really need to keep would be Hannah Hampton, because her distribution is unreal. Like, remember, Kevin, we went to the Villa Man City game, and her passing ability was just second to none. Like, every time, pinging the ball on that Man City's right side, on all day, and she just got it to the player's feet perfectly every single time, and we're able to switch it to the other side as well. Really good with her feet, she really is, and good shot stopper as well. So I think that should be one key player that Villa will need to keep a hold of.
I'm surprised Emery hasn't had a had on the bench so far. He likes to keep her on the bench, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, he does.
And he likes to keep her with good distribution. So she's actually a perfect for Emery. If she's getting snapped up by Man United ladies, maybe Aston Villa men can get her instead. But no, you're absolutely right. Her kicking at the time when actually Martinez was hoofing out to play all the time was fantastic. We've said it a lot on this channel, but for the club, where the club is right now, we've really got to take stock of what a great job everybody's done, and you have got to enjoy it, which is why I'm a little bit like, let's not go on the pitch as we mentioned earlier, but if you can't enjoy these moments, we've had plenty of bleak moments as a team, as a club, in even fairly recent years. We've been starved of success. To have a women's team we can be proud of, a men's team to be proud of, a youth system to be proud of. Some of the things we do off the pitch as well. There was obviously that fantastic video of obviously that girl who I think was deaf, and I think she had a disability, and obviously Tyrone Mings was there, and she was his mascot, and what an unbelievable character. If anyone hasn't seen that video that Villa put out on their channel,
it's amazing. Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
I had a tear in both of my eyes. I'm not crying, you're crying. It's just wonderful. But that's the kind of thing that the club are doing, and I noticed the whole price is going up, season tickets, and I'm sure the kits will be exorbitant, but that's the price of being a big club competing. But I like to think we're not going to lose our heart. We're a massive name, aren't we, Aston Villa? And we now need the success to match that name.
Yeah, definitely. Bit of transfer news or transfer chat, boys. I did a Bodymore bulletin the other day, talked around Manuel Ugarte, Harvey Barnes, and now Marco Asensio is doing the rounds. Now, it looks like one or two of these sort of foreign players are using, or their agents are using Villa as a little bit of bait, because Ugarte looks like he's in talks with PSG, and now it looks like Asensio's in talks with PSG. We're not going to sign any of those players, are we? Like, let's face it.
Probably not.
When the big boys come knocking, yeah, it's a bit like Joe Felix. Remember that? You know, when he was first mentioned and we were all hype, oh my God, we're getting Felix, we're getting Felix, we're getting Felix. Everyone losing their mind on Twitter. 10 minutes later, Man United have been talking. That's it. Philip Twitter went silent.
Yeah. It's just wishful thinking at the moment. I mean, not even Newcastle could get them, and I know obviously they've got Champions League football to talk about. It's, you know, these players, Villa, Newcastle aren't even on their radar. You know, it's more likely they go to a Chelsea, even though Chelsea haven't got anything like anywhere near European football. But it's just the way it works. It's the money and it's the reputation. Like, they haven't really heard of us, which is the thing. I do think Harvey Barnes has got legs in the rumor, though. I think that is one that we could do. And
yeah,
you know, what do you boys think about a Harvey Barnes coming in?
I'd love him. I would 100% take him in. But this £50 million price tag that's being mentioned, if Leicester go down, let's be honest, we're not paying £50 million. Like, he's really shining in a poor team. I think that's something really hard to do for a player. You know, 12 goals, 1 assist. You know, as an inverted winger, he really is good. He's an upgrade on Bailey, in my opinion. And a lot of people are saying, I wouldn't take him. He's an upgrade on the wingers that we have.
Mate, he scored 12 goals this season. I mean, he will be frustrating. There is no doubt about it, because Leicester fans get frustrated with him. And, you know, wingers are that. What we do in this country is we look at, if a winger will try and beat their fullback every time, we'll look at the 4 out of 5 times that they don't beat them, instead of looking at the 1 out of 5 times that they do and we score a goal. That always used to be the problem with Joe Cole. You know, for England, we used to look at the 4 times that he tried a through ball and it didn't come off, and we wouldn't look at the 1 time that he did and someone scored. That's what happens with players like that. So he's going to frustrate us. That's just a fact. But if you look at his consistency, his level in the Premier League, then it's a no-brainer.
He's got just over a 1 in 4 goals per game record in the Premier League, and that is for 140 odd games. He's absolutely brilliant. I mean, it really is. He's got 34 goals in 145 games. What's that? 120, well, you know, he's close to it, basically. You know, he's close to it, and I think that is fantastic. That really is.
25 as well.
I think people saying not sure about Harvey Barnes. I've actually thought that myself a bit lately, and I've had to sort of check myself and go, I don't care who you are. If you were De Bruyne playing in that Leicester team, your confidence would be shot. You would just not be feeling it, because everyone around you. You look at the body language. I mean, Tielemans looks like he's never played football before at the moment on the pitch. You know, Maddison's all over the shop. I mean, there's errors galore. So I don't think we can forget what an explosive player he's been in this league, and I think he would be a clear upgrade. And you're absolutely right. Like, it's a much more realistic signing for someone coming from a team that are getting relegated. Probably like a Ward-Prowse, if you're going to go for someone like him. I'm not sure we get in our team, though, if I'm honest.
Nah, I don't like him. Never liked him.
Yeah, but you know,
not that I have anything to do with the signings, but he doesn't. He's just
on now, Rich.
He's a typical English academy, midfielder. He doesn't do anything other than set pieces. He doesn't do anything else well. He's not particularly fast.
He's a McAfee's wet dream, the set piece specialist.
Yeah. But look, you know, I don't know. For me, like, if you're making a career out of hitting a dead ball, it's just. There's more to the game than that.
It's not just that. Like, this is what I don't get about, you know, when some people go, "Oh, he's just free kicks," but
he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do anything else well. I think
he's got good work rate, but I know what you mean. He's not particularly quick.
Work rate?
No, I know what you mean. But
that's a minimum requirement. That is a minimum requirement.
Yeah, but the fact that he's so good at free kicks, it takes away of how good a footballer he is. I compare it to Beckham. He was so good at free kicks and had this
No, mate, he's not
superstardom
Beckham.
of like
He's not Beckham.
celebrities and all that.
I'm
But
not
it
having
took
it.
away
Not
from
having
how
it.
good of a footballer he
Not having
actually
it.
is.
You
I
can't
just think he's
convince
a good
me. You
footballer.
cannot. I don't like. I don't like typical English academy centre midfielders. Never have. Never will. Don't like them.
Isn't Jacob Ramsey centre midfielder?
He's not a typical English academy one though. He's brilliant at running with the ball. He's got
I
he's
know,
got
yeah.
a little bit of ability about him. Like
Isn't he
yeah,
Premier League Academy graduate winner though?
he is. He
Yeah,
is.
he
He
is.
is. Yeah.
Just back to the other point about transfers. It's very unlikely we get players that are as highly rated as Ugarte and and the likes, right? And Asensio and all these players have been linked with us. It's very unlikely, but then I look at what we've done in recent seasons. I think the Digne signing was a big one for me because we all thought when he became available with his form at Everton, he could have gone to anybody, really. And we got him. Coutinho, maybe he was a little bit the Gerrard link, but we still attracted a player like Coutinho to the club. We did. We've got Martinez, who's, I'm still expecting us to sign Rodrigo de Paul and Lionel Messi. There is clearly a different vibe about. I'm not really expecting to sign Messi, right? There's a different vibe about Villa. We don't have probably the levels of funds we can spend in accordance with obviously FFP rules. But if you've got a budget of, I talk about 150 million plus topped up by player sales, I don't think there's as much shopping that's needed to be done as I thought there was needed to be done. So that gives you a bit of reassurance if you keep some of your players around. And who's to say we couldn't convince one of these players to come and join us?
Mate,
Unai Emery
yeah.
is a massive draw.
I don't disagree. It's just that there's a reason why these players are being touted around and Villa's name is getting mentioned. And if you go online, you'll see Liverpool's name mentioned. You'll see Newcastle's name mentioned. It's literally their agent just tossing in a bit of bait and seeing who bites on it. So look, we can't read too much into it, but I do think the Barnes one is one to look at. I mean, people saying in Barnes on loan with an option to buy, says Adamski. Gary's saying 2 million and Olsen. Yeah, we'll drive him down as well for you.
That must be the Chernobyl brain.
Yeah, CC saying we need to buy smart as we aren't going for the league. We're going for top 6. Alan says take Barnes all day. CC again. I like Barnes. Would love to see how he would improve under Emery. What else have we got? Rachel doesn't really want Barnes. I do hear how good he is against anyone other than Villa.
Can I just say something ridiculous now? I'm sorry, I'm just thinking it the other day. Why can't we go for the league? We're second behind Man City this season. We're best to have everybody over 30 games. Like, why not?
Yeah, I'm sure at the start of the season, every team wants to go and try and win the league. Of course they do, but
wildly unlikely, of course, because you've got all these big. But I'm just saying, we've had a consistency of performance, 2 points a game, and maybe not league, maybe Champions League. But my point is, why can't our aspirations with this manager be based on what we've done over since the start of November? Be let's do it. Man City are head and shoulders. They're going to win the league for the next 50 years, probably. But you get, I mean, are we now? Are we behind? Do any of you think we're behind a Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea by as much of a chasm that couldn't be made up with a couple of good signings this summer? I don't know. I don't know if we are.
No, I think they're obviously going to improve for next season. So it just. I know we are, but we're also going to be, which I'll come to the next question. We're also going to be contending with Europe for the first time in 12 years, so that's going to have an impact.
Maybe that
fail to have an impact.
Maybe that'll be the silver lining of finishing 8th. Maybe maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But you've got Chelsea aren't going to be where they are this season. Like Arsenal are going to try and push on. Man United are going to push on. Liverpool are. Obviously, not everybody can finish where they finish. Emery's got tactics for every game, but. I think we'd be lucky to be pushing for top 6 again next season in terms of a realistic ambition. I don't think Newcastle will potentially be where they are this season because again they're contending with Champions League football for the first time. A lot of the time these big 6 once they get their noses to get a bit bruised, they come back with a vengeance and.
I think Europe will clearly look at what it's done to West Ham, Wolves, teams like that in recent years. I think it will clearly affect us. But I genuinely believe we could, our aspirations now, based on what we've done under a long time, with almost no recruitment other than Alex Moreno, we've got players that we all wrote these players off And they've performed, they've produced the goods over, 25, 30 games now for Unai Emery. 2 points a game. It's unbelievable. We've beat Spurs away, tick, Chelsea away, tick, we beat Man United. We won the second half against Man City, and that itself is worth enough. But you get my point. We've beaten teams we should be beating. We're not a pushover. Even the games we've lost, Wolves, we were probably the better team. Man United, it could have gone either way, really. We maybe ran out of legs. Other than the Leicester game at home, there's not a performance I am hugely disappointed about under the entirety of the Emery reign.
I love the enthusiasm. But if we get off to a good start next season, then who knows? I love the enthusiasm, but every other supporters podcast is going to be saying exactly the same as us. And obviously someone's got to do it, but I mean, no one's going to beat Man City next season, so let's just we're going to have to wait a good 2 or 3 years yet.
No one's going to beat Man City again. Okay, when I say maybe win the league, I mean, okay, probably get a bit ahead of my stations there, but I mean, being those top teams going forward.
Yeah, I hope so.
Going forward,
I hope so.
Yeah. I just don't look at us looking at a Spurs now, or a Liverpool now, or a Chelsea now, and I have no fear. I have no fear.
Yeah.
As long as we strengthen the areas that we need to. If the owners don't back him for whatever reason, and we haven't got an upgrade on it, and this will be a great talking point for a pod, probably for another time, but what's staring us all in the face? Is there a better Watkins out there? Is there a better Buendia? Is there a better Bailey? Is there a better Cashy?
There's got to be. Or there's players that put pressure on them. Adamski's saying Emil Smith Rowe incoming to rattle the Gooners. Duncan says top 4 for sure. Michael saying he believes we can go for it. Alan says shoot for the stars and achieve the moon. Rachel says she'd put a bet on Newcastle or Chelsea next year. Chelsea and FFP issues. They'll need to sell loads first. CC League 4th is a bit too high only because we don't have the quality of players, and next season there's a lot going on. We definitely go for it every game. Brett says this is the hardest league in world football in his opinion. For us to even come in the top 10 is winning 80% of world football leagues. Michael agrees with you, Kev. We've got to have that mindset. Chelsea are a couple of years away, says Gary. Yeah. Think only Arsenal have done the double on us. Yeah, absolutely. We're only good while Emery stays, but should be. Premiership is the Super League, yeah. And Adam says Rich is a Villa fan who's learnt to curb his expectations. Kev is the opposite with good reason. There we go. This is why we're a good. This is why we're a good podcast, if I say so myself, because we have different views. We debate stuff, and we get all your views coming on as well.
Rich, when you said actually this is what all the other Villa podcasts I was saying, I literally jumped in and went, "What? Having 2 of the main people on there disagreeing about the same point? I don't think that often."
Exactly. Kazuhiro says Villa win the Conference League and get in the Europa League. Look, West Ham could do it. So, this is a great segue. I think a few people commented, like Nigel said, if we don't do it on Sunday, could be the best thing after the end of the next season. No distractions next year isn't the end of the world.
I agree,
Nigel. I think it might have been Gary said, can we expect a West Ham situation as maybe a Conference League win, but sacrifice league position? So, Martin, does Conference League, does that affect our season next season?
And no.
Or negative. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm a bit 50-50 on it because, like, in one way, it can go really well that you're doing well in the league and you're doing well in the Conference League with a manager like Unai Emery who knows how to win these European competitions. But at the same time, I wouldn't like to be in a situation where West Ham are in, where they're doing really poor in the league and really well in Europe. I'd rather do well in the league than Europe, because I think it's just so much harder to do well in the league with like 20 teams week in, week out, where in a European, if you don't do well, all right, fair enough, there's always next year. But if you don't do well in Europe and you don't do well in the league, it affects the season a lot, but I don't think I'd like to be in West Ham's situation.
Yeah. What about you, Kev? Are you thinking that are you thinking it's an inevitability that it affects our season next season if we get Conference League? And would you agree with Nigel on that in terms of, maybe it's a potential blessing in disguise if we don't get it?
Well, I've touched on this before, right? I've said it a few times. I'm not saying we're going to do a Leicester, but if we don't have any European football with this manager and with this momentum and with some good signings, who knows? I think that the chances of us having a top 4 push are massively, massively helped by not being in Europe. That goes without saying, because I don't care who you are, you don't care how good your manager is. If you're in the arse end of Europe on a Thursday night and you got a game on a Sunday lunchtime, like it's gonna be tricky for you. However, there are plenty of teams, if their squad is robust enough, that can equally compete in Europe and also, push on for the league. It's all about how good your squad is. And if Emery's serious and the owners are serious and they've got to back him to a point where we've got 2 good players in each position, then I do think, why not? Maybe it's not, top 4, top 6 and a European push. Unai loves Europe. He absolutely loves it. And I think if we're in any European competition with him as manager on these one-off games, I think we've got a chance of going very, very far in the competition, particularly the standard of opposition we're up against in the Conference League. So, I think it's obviously clearly exciting times, but do you want to sacrifice the league position to have a European run? If you said to Villa fans, you can win the Conference League and finish 14th, I think we'd all probably take it. Because,
I think West Ham as well are kind of, I think they don't want the season to end almost because they're starting to really play well. That Paqueta's looking good, man. Like they're starting to play really well. So, yeah, I think that, I think they've come through a sticky patch. And I think, they maybe finish 12th or 13th in the end and if they win the Conference League. I mean, they're in Europa League next season. That opens up more players. It's a trophy. I agree with you, mate. And I do think you have to take these opportunities when they come as well, because we can talk like, oh yeah, finishing 8th might be better, but like we've said, all these other teams will improve. It only takes a bit of a dodgy start, and and then we're back to square one. So I think you take it now, you push for it now, you get the players in now, and I think lots of people have talked here about the young players. Gary said at least we can give the young ones a run in the Conference League. And that's for me, Tim Bonham, Kane Kessler-Hayden, Cameron Archer, Aaron Ramsey, so many of the young players that have been out on loan. Lamar Bogard, there's talk of Finn Azaz. I know Plymouth want to sign him, but is it a spot for them to kind of stake a claim, particularly in kind of the earlier rounds, for them to kind of stake a claim and get games, and then if they're not getting in that first team or around the first team, they go out on loan in January. So, that's something as well. Other people saying, Dale says, think we will be better suited to both, have a manager that is used to it, plus we will recruit better than West Ham. Rachel says, depends on how our transfer window goes. If we've got good squad depth, we should be okay. If not, it will be more of a West Ham season. Kazuro says, Unai Emery, the mastermind of Europa competition. Michael saying Unai has a fire to take Villa to the top. Duncan said we have to build a squad that can do the league and the Euro. Adamski is saying in pre-season, Emery will be looking hard at our better young players. If we make conference, it will make sense to use them instead of buying more players that we might need. Yeah, just as I said there, Emery likes European football. We need to buy players. We need to buy with the Premier League in mind foremost, then the conference, then the cups. So I think generally agreeing with what we've said there. And Brett has said this is what he loves about this podcast: people disagree and no hate. Look, we've all got an opinion. We all love the Villa, and that's brilliant, mate. That's what we want. We want to have good conversation, good discussion. Sometimes disagreeing, but that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, we all love
being a Villa fan.
Absolutely. Exactly. And guys, next up, let's talk about Philip Schofield. No,
Moving swiftly on.
Kevin.
Before we get your score predictions in, people, so start preparing your score predictions for Sunday. Obviously, this has a bearing on 7th position in the league, but we also have the relegation question to decide. Everton in pole position at the moment, 2 points clear of Leeds and Leicester. Everton on 33 points, Leeds and Leicester on 31. Everton have Bournemouth at home, Leeds have Spurs at home, and Leicester have West Ham at home. Martin, I'll come to you first. Is it going to be just a straightforward Everton win, or is that just too boring for this Premier League?
I want to see Everton go down. I think
That's
it's well over.
mate. That's because of your mate Martin, isn't it?
Just a little bit. But no, I think it's well overdue. Like, remember when we were doing really bad for years? And inevitably we all knew relegation was coming. And when it finally came, people were saying, oh, they were due this, they deserved it. Everything's the same. I just think they're just due a relegation. Like, it'd be boring for them to stay up. I'd rather see Leeds win or Leicester win on the last day.
Well, we definitely
And
like
they're
to see
gone.
Leeds win. We would definitely like to see Leeds win.
Yeah,
but the
100%.
question is do Bournemouth beat Everton? That's the question.
Yeah, they do.
So who stays up out of Leeds and Leicester then? If Everton get beat,
Leeds.
So Leeds beat Spurs. It doesn't matter with Leicester's result, really. Well, no, because Leicester still have to lose or draw, don't they?
The reason I say Leeds, Tottenham on the final day are horrible. You've seen some past results. I just think Leeds will win.
Well, I think Tottenham have given up already. I think they're not listening to Mason. They like him, but they're not listening to him.
No.
Kane is kind of running that dressing room, but there's other players that aren't listening to him. If you can't beat Brentford at home after going 1-0 up, you're struggling. You're struggling for the rest of the season. You're struggling for the last game.
Yeah, I think it'll be Leeds. They'll stay up. Everton, Leicester, Southampton will be the three relegated from the Premier League. 3 big names gone.
That's a massive call. Massive call. I'll come to you in a second, Kev, but I've got loads of comments coming in. CC said hit those likes all. So yeah, agree with do as CC says as well. Michael says Everton to lose. Gary says Leeds draw, Everton draw, Leicester win. Not a bad shout. Duncan says Leeds to survive. Adamski says Everton have been dreary for ages and overspending. Brett agrees with you, Martin. If we get 7th and get Europe with this squad, we'll be around the bottom. I think that was from your previous conversation. If Everton go down, they're done. CC, Bournemouth will be tough to beat. I can see a draw. Michael says Leeds. Really random reviews is in the house. Evening, fellas. Joined too late. No, we've still got time, mate. Don't worry.
You're all right.
Gary says Leicester don't deserve it, but Leeds and Everton do for me. Leeds to win, says CC. Adamski says Leeds women could beat Spurs in the form Spurs are in. Half the Spurs squad are off in the summer. So yeah, Kev, I see you shaking your head. It's a massive call. There's some results that have to go right for Leeds to kind of survive. What are your thoughts?
I almost don't want to go and watch Villa Brighton because I want to be there when they're going, and across to Ellen Road we go. When it's like there's goals going in, and this is a massive goal in the Premier League. Who scored it? That all of that, like Jeff Stelling and giving it everything in the studio. That's the exciting thing, because in these games, it's going to be coming through from the side of the pitch quite clearly. If Leicester get an early goal or Leeds get an early penalty, whatever, it's going to filter through. Bournemouth have lost the last 3, and so they're not in particularly good recent form. And Everton are in decent form under Dyche. Certainly performances, if not necessarily. I mean, that draw against Leicester, but they were the better team. They obviously battered Brighton. They got that last minute, obviously equalised the other day, which was vital. But I can't see them not winning against Bournemouth. I just can't at home. Calvert-Lewin's a big miss, and they are not great up front. But I think with the recent form of a McNeil, I think the recent form, obviously, of the likes of, Tarkowski's been good, and Arna's been good. They could probably play Damari Gray in that position, and I think they might probably have enough to get over the line. If they only get a draw, I don't think confidence-wise, I could see Leicester beating West Ham, but West Ham players are probably going to have their eye on the Conference League final.
Yeah.
And I can't see Leeds in the form they're in beating anybody, but Spurs are crap. And they probably can't be asked to even play the game at the weekend. So all of these games have got things that you wouldn't be surprised about any results.
Yeah.
But I think if I had to pick one of the teams to get out of it, I'm gonna say Everton. I think they're gonna win. They're gonna, or even if they get a draw,
their goal difference.
Well, if they get a draw, it's curtains, isn't it, for Leeds basically, because their goal difference is they'd have to beat Spurs probably 3-0, maybe 4. No, they'd have to beat Spurs 3-0. I think they've scored more goals. If they get a draw, can I see Leicester beating West Ham? I don't know if I can see Leicester beating West Ham. Leicester, they play better backs against the wall, but then Leicester at home, you know, they got a good result. I can convince myself. Good result away at St James's, first clean sheet in 20 odd games. Maybe a swan song for Vardy, Maddison. Maybe they could win. It's super exciting to have this much going on, though it really is still on the last game of the season.
Well, last 5 games, Leeds have 2 points from their last 5. Leicester have 3 points from their last 5, and Everton have 5 points from their last 5. I actually think all 3 will win. So obviously that means that Everton stay up. I think all teams will win.
I bet that'd be the first time that's happened this season, wouldn't it? If that happens.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. But I think they've all got winnable games for different reasons, as you've just said there, Kev. You know, Bournemouth, are they really? I think Bournemouth are a bit of a bogey side for Everton. That's what people have been saying. But, you know, are they really that fussed? They've lost the last 3, like you said. Leicester, home to West Ham. Again, West Ham, are they going to really push? Although they can finish, they could potentially finish above Chelsea. So that might be an extra motivator for them. And then Leeds obviously have to win regardless. So yeah, it's one of those. It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be really interesting. But you know, we just have to do our job and make sure we get the win, and we're not relying on Leeds to do us a favour or Man City to do us a favour against Brentford, because you know they're still in it. Quick question here from Gary: who comes up, Cov or Luton?
Luton.
Just one word.
Luton. I think they're. I mean, they obviously finished higher up in the league. They've had a fantastic. Do you know what really surprised me with Luton? I've not watched them too many times over the season, but how unbelievably physical and absolutely at it they were in that semi-final. I just think they are a proper old school throwback side, and I just think they'll have too much physicality for Cov. Cov are a really good team, but the thought of walking through someone's living room, going into their toilet and coming out on an away terrace is making me salivate. It sounds fantastic. All right, Susan, can I have a cup of tea, please, love? Cheers. and then you go to watch the game. I was so impressed with them in the semi-final. So impressed with them.
That was an excellent one-word answer there. Martin, one word, Cov or Luton?
Coventry.
Oh, there you go.
I'm going to agree with you, Kevin. I'm going to say Luton. Alan's saying Coventry, please.
The reason I'm going with Coventry is because it'd be
under ownership of Adamski. Sorry.
It'd be another derby for Villa and Wolves. If you bring Luton into it, don't get me wrong, I'd love to see Luton come up as well. Someone new to the Premier League, like a Brentford and a Brighton and a Bournemouth when they all came up the first time.
It's a low allocation again for away games, though, isn't it? Another one.
Exactly, and it's also another typical London derby. So I want to see a Coventry come up, because then it's another Midlands derby. Don't
believe EasyJet. It's not a London derby. It's not a London derby. It's more of a derby for us. Well, it maybe between the two. I don't know. It's not. It's not. You know, I know they say London Luton, but really, it's
it's quite far. Yeah. Right. So finish off, lads. We've done an hour and a half. We've had 60 odd watching. Don't forget, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's a massive appreciation. We've had a new member join tonight in Dale. If anybody else does want to become a member, hit that join button or hit the link at the top of the chat or the $sign to follow the instructions. If you want to leave a super chat as well, then yeah, feel free. It's massively appreciated. The support that we get on this channel is amazing. Get your score predictions in for Sunday. I've seen 1 or 2 come in. I've starred those already. Martin, I will come to you first, and then I'll read the score predictions from the comments, and then I'll get yours, Kev. So, Mark, what are you saying for Sunday?
2-0.
And who's scoring?
Ollie Watkins
and Welbeck. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Ollie Watkins, he loves a goal against Brighton. And I'm going to go for... Matty Cash goal.
Okay. He scored against Brighton before.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. Okay.
Interesting. Paul AVFC, 1874, said 3-0 up the Villa. Very confident there. We've got Adamski 3-1 Villa. Duncan 3-0 Villa. Alan 2-1 Villa. Rachel 1-0 Villa. A tight one, trying to give as many positive vibes as possible. Dale saying 2-0 Villa, Watkins and Dina. CC, I can't predict Sunday. Too nervous. Come on. Gary saying we rock Brighton 2-1. I like that. Kev, we got the positive vibes here.
He's going with 8-0.
You know me. 8-0. I think Villa are going to win 4-3.
Wow.
Kev, what? Are you messing? Please tell me you're messing.
4-3, yeah. I think it's going to be an absolute humdinger of a game. They're going to be doing their free-flowing football. We're going to score a couple of goals. They're going to peg us back. We're going to get up to 3-2. Then they're going to bring Welbeck on. He's going to get a header. And then
I honestly don't think my heart could take it.
I know. It's going to be unbelievable. Like, everyone's going to be on the pitch. And the goal scorers are going to be John McGinn's going to score. Watkins is going to score. Ashley Young's going to score. And the winner is going to be scored by a Colombian by the name of John Duran in the last 5 minutes.
I thought you were going to say Juan Pablo Angel. It's going to run on.
There's only Juan Pablo Angel.
Really
let me go grab a glass of whiskey there just for that.
Yeah, I know, mate. You'll need a bottle on Sunday. I'm not so confident, only because so much riding on it. But I back Emery and the boys under him. 2-1 Villa. CC, all right, 2-1. Alan saying 4-3. What?
Get ready, Alan.
Rachel won't survive that game either. Gary was just about to say, "Don't go daft on the predictions, Kev."
Come on, guys. Come on.
You know Kev now. You know Kev by now.
Come on.
I'm going to say 3-1 Villa. I think we'll go 2-0 up. I think Watkins will score, and I think Ramsey will score. Then they'll get back to 2-1, and I think who's going to score the third? I think Watkins will score. I think Watkins will score the winner. I think he'll get 2.
Wow.
Nice. Good.
3-1 Villa. And then we are off to the Europa Conference League. Lads, it's been emotional. Gary has said, what has he said? Are we back on Sunday? Yes, we will be back on Sunday. I'll also do a bite-sized preview show, which I'll get that out for tomorrow morning. So look out for that. Lads, let's just keep the positivity. I can't wait for Sunday. Just what a season. If we can round it off, it'll just be the icing on the cake. Anything else you want to add, Kev? A bit of motivation for the lads?
This is our moment now, fellas. Come on. This is. You said it earlier, Rich. This is what it's all about. Sport, isn't it? And if that team, with how they've been in the last 6-7 months, if they can't get us over the line, I'll be absolutely staggered. I'm really confident, believe we'll win. I mean, I think it will be a thriller, as I've called a thriller at the Villa. But I've got faith in the team. I've got faith in them, and this could be the start of something very, very special for us. This season's been special after an absolutely appalling start. For us to beat here, as we said many times, is absolutely amazing. But to get Europe, what that means then for the next 3, 4, 5 years, it could be amazing. So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, 100%. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. We will be, like I said, back with a bite-sized preview, back with a celebratory pod on Sunday night. Don't forget, positivity all weekend, positivity throughout the game, and as always, remember, we all follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.